It doesn't matter if your beliefs are true or not. It only matters if you believe them. Our beliefs, what we truly believe, and it can be on a conscious level where our beliefs are really deep down beliefs really reside. What we believe about ourselves, what we believe about others, what we believe about the world is how the world shows up. So it's almost like our beliefs are the projector. They're projecting this movie out onto the world, and that's how we experience life. So if I believe I'm not good enough or I'm in lack, then guess what? I'm going to get all of the evidence. I'm going to find all of the spaces. It's going to show up. Oh, there's another example of me not being good enough. There's another example of me being in lack. On the opposite end, if I truly believe that I am empowered and I'm a powerful being and I live in abundance, guess what? I'm going to get all of the evidence showing up in my world. And it's a really simple concept. It's simple, but it's not always easy because it requires a keen awareness of what you're tapping into. What are you buying into? What are your beliefs? And that your beliefs may not be true for anybody else, but they're true for you. There's so many different ways that we can interpret this reality, but really tapping into how do I want my world to show up? And are my beliefs in alignment with that? Because if your world's not showing up how you want it to, check in with your beliefs. What am I believing about myself, the world, others, that is creating this particular set of circumstances around me? It's always an inside job.
And sometimes these beliefs can be so baked in, we can't even see if it's ours or someone else's, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we do the work to distinguish which beliefs are ours, which beliefs are the world's, which beliefs are our parents', and if these beliefs resonate with who we are right now or who we're up to becoming. When we uncouple, get a little bit of distance from this thing that is known as a belief. Do they serve me anymore? Is this really truly what I believe? And over the course of the last several years across the globe, people have been challenged with their beliefs. You know, what they thought was true and what they thought was actual factual sometimes these things are getting shaken in a different way. What these belief structures have been are really getting blurred. So it takes us to say, well, what do I truly believe? And what do I want to create in my world? So when we get a keen awareness, when we bring ourselves to have this awareness around in our lives, we enable ourselves to then reframe what our belief structures will be now. And they can be completely different than what they were a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We don't have to adopt the same belief systems that we've always had. And most importantly, the belief about ourselves, what we're capable of, what we think about ourselves, what our ability to be able to dive into unconditional self-love, what we feel about our enoughness, our acceptance of ourselves. Ultimately, that's most important because from that space, we can start to create our world in this magnificent way. But what we're talking about here is just scientifically proven priming yourself to see the world in a certain way. So in psychology, they talk about priming. They show you something that's red, they give you candy. They show you something that's black, they give you something that's nasty, sludge. So you go out into the world, you see anything that's red, you start to see it, and you're like, wow, that's good, that's good. Anything that's black, you see it as bad. This is priming. So how are we priming ourselves every day to go out into the world? How are we priming ourselves to see ourselves? How are we priming ourselves to see our neighbor? How are we priming ourselves to see our social circles? How are we priming ourselves to see the things that we see on television, what we listen to, what we hear? And if it's in alignment with what we're up to creating our greatest version, we just want to get a clear idea of what we're up to, what we're living into, so that we can start to prime ourselves to be in alignment with that thing. And when we prime ourselves to be in alignment with unconditional self-love, unconditional acceptance, radical empathy, love, light, power, then we start to see that out into the world. And most importantly, again, we see that within ourselves. And that's why we do that work scientifically and spiritually in order to meld those two together to empower each and every one of you and everybody else around us to be in alignment with that greatest version of ourselves. And when we walk out into the space, and everyone's felt it, when you're in flow, in power, you can walk into any room and it's felt. You can walk outside and you are chin up, chest out, feeling confident about yourself because you're in alignment, you're in flow. So that's what we want to bring our conscious awareness, a keen awareness to what our belief structures are. What are we truly feeling about ourselves? And if it's out of alignment, there's no problem here. AAA process shares that we become aware, we acknowledge, and then we act, right? If we're out of balance, we become aware of that. Oh, Jedi mindset training, that's what we're at. Okay, boom, I'm here. I acknowledge that I'm off, no problem. Now I act in that space. What is the space that I want to stand into? Stand up taller. Put your hands on your hips. Tell yourself, get into the mirror. Whatever it's going to be to shake and shift that state in order to then start to prime yourself for stepping into the world and stepping into your life in a magnificent new way.
So here's a really easy, simple. I want to challenge everybody to take inventory of your belief system. We're like, and you all are at really high levels here. Like we're working from a high level. So what we're doing is we're upgrading our belief system. Okay. So we're going to take some inventory here. So step one is to zoom out on your life. Is there anything showing up in my life that I'd like to shift? Maybe it's not showing up exactly how I want it to show up. Okay. So what is that? What's that area? What's happening? What's the scenario? Okay. What's the area that you want to shift? And maybe it's not showing up exactly the way that you want it to. And then simply take a moment to look at what's the belief. What am I saying to myself? What am I buying into that is creating this area showing up in the way that it's showing? So that's step two. And then step three is, what's the new belief? What's the truth? What's the truth that you want to believe, right? I did a lot of work around finances. I've shared this so many times because I was in such a lack mentality for so long. And I really had to look at, like, so here's my circumstance. The bank account is saying zero. And okay, I'm creating that reality. What are the beliefs in that area? What am I buying into? I was buying into that I wasn't worthy of creating financial abundance, that it was hard, that being financially free was super hard. I didn't have the worth to do that. And so I had to go in and really look at, okay, that is an old story. That's an old story that I don't want to tap into anymore. It sucks. And so what's the new one? What's the new belief? And you're mining for the truth. For me, it was finding my power, finding my strengths, finding what was really, really good about me and tapping into those spaces that were worthy. And really shifting a lot of things that were ingrained in me from my parents around money, and that it was really hard to make all of those old things. And so I went in and I just did an inventory of what was I buying into, and then what did I really want to create? I want to create that money is easy and simple to earn. It feels really good. It feels really good to have. And that I have so much worth. I have so much worth. I have so much to give. I can be of such service to people. And so what is that for you? What is that area of life that you want to shift or transform? And again, you guys are all at a really high level. So we're upgrading our belief systems. We're upgrading. So we all have that little thing that's kind of like tapping on our shoulder. Here's the area. So take a look. We're going to take inventory of our belief system and we're going to upgrade.
We typically will look at this as brain training, right? Again, always love the spiritual aspect. And we also want to follow the science, right? What is science saying about brain training, about how we create new neural pathways? What is science saying about that, right? So here we are. This is who we are when we're going through space, and we have a certain belief system that we have been living with. And it's just literally taking that old train that we were on. This is the track. This is our train track. This is our lines on our train track. And we literally have the opportunity every day to switch that old belief system. And if you've ever seen a train track, they have that switch, that handrail system. Now it's all done electronically, where you switch that thing and it takes you from where you were going, that old path, to then switching it to the new path. And when you switch that literally through brain training, you're on a completely different trajectory. Where is that trajectory taking each individual? It's all the areas that we were talking about right here: money, relationships, self-worth, health and wellness. What are the areas that we want to transform? And it's right here that we have the opportunity to really shift it every day. It's right there in that switch. And what science says is that through repetition, we switch to create that new track. And we do that daily through repetition. Again, repetition is the key.
And repetition of repeating our new truth, our new belief over and over again, feeling into it, imagining it, getting into that energetic resonance of the new belief. And it takes something. How did you get the old belief?
That's right.
Something probably happened. If it's a disempowering belief, something probably happened in this lifetime, in early childhood. It could be a past lifetime or something that you just inherited from your parents or your family. Something happened that created this disempowering beliefs. It just locked it in there. And then you think it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Or you hear something from your parents over and 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 over again. And it becomes a belief. It gets locked into the subconscious mind. And so what we have to do with the brain training is we have to go in and we have to shift the track. And it does take something. It takes repetition. It takes feeling into it as if it's already here. And, somebody once said, Mika, do you really think that saying these affirmations over and over again is going to do something? And I said, I am living proof that it happens, but it's not just saying them. I think people get into their heads, like you say an affirmation and say it once, and okay, it's not showing up. That's really not how it works. We're doing the same thing as we had been doing since we were little. We're thinking the thing over and over and over and over and over and over again until it literally is locked into our subconscious mind. And you'll feel the shift. There is something that happens energetically when it shifts into the subconscious. When you're like, okay, I have this unsteady repeat. And the repeat, one great way to shift the track is that awareness training. So you catch the old belief and then you immediately go to the new belief. Immediately go to the new belief. So it's really great to have your beliefs written down so you can see them. It's great to have them recorded so you can hear them. And you're literally just reprogramming. We're reprogramming the subconscious mind. This is a surefire way to really create the reality that you want to create. But it takes something. It takes repetition, it takes feeling, and it takes conscious awareness and a willingness to be in the moment and aware of and catch yourself when you're going into that old space, because sometimes we're addicted to the old space. Mm-hmm. We're addicted to the anxiety, or we're so used to feeling a certain way about ourselves. And we just get locked into that thing, and it's familiar. And so we have to be brave, and we have to exercise a muscle that maybe we're not used to exercising. But it's not hard. You're just designing your life. When you look at it like that, it's like, I get to do this. It's not a have to do. It's I get to do this. I get to be the one who is in charge of how my life shows up. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And then from there, we're just creating new results, new destiny, new super self. This is who you are. Every choice is made in there. And this is just the science of it, how the brain works, how to actually reprogram the subconscious mind. And when you do that, your new thoughts create these new beliefs create new actions, new reactions create new results create the new destiny, the new life that we're living into. It takes that conscious awareness. And that's why we're doing this work. When we're doing our awareness training, we catch ourselves, we time compress instead of being on it for years and months and weeks and days. Compress it down to hours, minutes, and moments. We become so masterful of our thoughts that if we are on this old track down here, doing the same old thing, that we catch ourselves and we create this new path. We say, this is what I'm about. I'm aligning with this new path. I'm aligning with the new belief system. I'm aligning with that super self that I've seen, that I've done the work, that I've sat with myself with my eyes closed. I've envisioned that beautiful being. How beautiful are you? How powerful are you? Everyone on here is spectacular. spectacular, fantastic. We know how powerful you are. So we continue to do that work, to be in that new belief system, to do the brain training, to create the new neural pathway. And then when we do that, we create these new beautiful results, that new destiny, the new super self. And like one of our mentors said, within a 6 months time, a year's time, you'll look back in your life and like, oh my God, you'll need a telescope to look back. Look at what shifts and transformations have been made. It's beautiful. It's powerful. And this is the opportunity that each and every one of us have every day. And we put in the reps, we keep on doing the work. And then the next thing you know, we've created a new groove in our brain, a new groove in our spirit. And we've aligned with our super self in that quantum realm, new destiny. This is the opportunity that each and every one of us have every day. We make it by having a choice. We shift that track by choice.